So this video is about the full moon lunar eclipse happening in the sign of Libra. Eclipses are fated point. They bring in karmic events, destined events, events that are meant to happen but have not happened for some reason. These eclipses can also speed up events, right? If there was something that was meaning to happen but hasn't happened yet, an eclipse can bring that about. Eclipses are highly charged points, and it's very important to not be very reactive or take super important decisions on an eclipse, right? If something is showing itself, if something is being revealed, then it's best to wait it out a little, think about it with a calm, collected mind, and then take action, then react, right? So this full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Libra will kick off a 2-week eclipse cycle, which we will see with this moon, and it will go on till the next moon, the new moon solar eclipse in Aries, which is extremely powerful, and that we will discuss on the next moon video. But for this one's in the sign of Libra, right? Moon is in Libra, sun is in Aries, and this is a lot of emphasis in general on relationships, on legal issues, right? This is highlighting the Libra Aries axis, where there is this contradiction, this contradictory energy of individuality and relationships, of aggression and diplomacy, and this eclipse is highlighting these points on a global collective level. For your personal charts, look for 5 degrees of Libra. That's where this eclipse will happen, and that's where you will feel the energies of this eclipse, that particular house, that particular area of your life. Now, this eclipse is making one important aspect, and that is a trine to Pluto. A positive aspect with Pluto. Pluto here is the planet of change and transformation, yes, but it also brings beginnings and endings, right? It's also a planet of catharsis, of upheaval, of things revealing themselves, of secrets coming out. So there can be a lot about new things coming to the surface, things revealing themselves, secrets coming out. And it need not be very dramatic, right? It can also just be that we find some emotions that are deep within us that we've been trying to access, work on, come to the surface. So Pluto is about these things. It's about change, it's about transformation, it's about catharsis, it's about things revealing themselves. So this energy is what is very potent with this eclipse. Change, transformation, things coming to the surface. And by the time we reach this moon, this has already happened, right? The moon has already trined Pluto and the sun trined Pluto about 3-4 days before this eclipse. So that process of change, catharsis, things coming to the surface started a little bit before, right? Because the sun did make that aspect, and now it's coming full, you can say, with this eclipse point. The second thing I want to mention is that on this eclipse we have Saturn conjunct Venus, right? In the sign of Pisces, and this moon is in the sign of Libra. Venus rules the sign of Libra. So the ruler of Libra, which is Venus, is sitting next to Saturn, right? Saturn here is a very serious planet. It brings serious energy. It wants decisions. It wants hard work. It wants persistence. It wants you to grow up. It wants you to become mature, right? And it's sitting next to Venus. Venus in general is our relationships and finances, beauty, self-worth, right? So in these areas, we can be asked to grow up, right? We can be asked to get serious about finances, about maybe something to do with our relationships. So this is serious energy. This is asking for decisions. This is asking for commitments. This is asking for what are you serious about? And Saturn is also extremely karmic, right? Saturn is the planet of karma. So again, this theme of karmic things, fated things is coming up more and more. And oftentimes, sometimes we don't know what it means, right? karmic things, fated things. It just means things maybe that seem a little bit out of our control. That's one way of looking at it. Things that are just happening, right? And we are kind of reacting to it. We are kind of saying, okay, that happened, right? So it's that kind of energy that I'm talking about. So Saturn is karmic. It's asking for seriousness. It's asking for commitments. It's asking us, what are you thinking about for the long term with these relationships, right? Venus relationships, Libra relationships. Venus is also finances, so it could be something about that as well. And there's definitely a change, there's definitely a transformation with Pluto in the mix, or there is something that we are being told that is being revealed to us, something that's coming out in the open. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that there's a lot of Pisces, a lot of Aries, and a little bit of Taurus. Energy is highly concentrated, right? And what this means is that in our personal lives, there's a lot of focus on maybe 2-3 areas of our life. And what does that mean, right? Maybe there's a lot of focus on, say, business and socializing, for example, right? Or maybe there's a lot of focus on health and your partnership, or there's a lot of focus on, say, your home life and your love life, right? And everything else is kind of in the background. So that's what I mean by energies are concentrated. They're concentrated in one area of the chart, which means they're concentrated in certain areas of our life that feel very magnified, that feel very prominent, and other areas seem to say, okay, they're in the background. They're happening, things are going on, but these 2-3 areas are the forefront, right? Whether it's a business and your social circle, or whether it's maybe learning something and getting a job, right? That sort of energy. A lot of focus in 2-3 areas of our lives, different for everyone depending on the chart, right? So that's also there. And with so much focus on Pisces and Aries, this is something I mentioned in my last video as well. Pisces is endings, Aries is beginning. Pisces is where the zodiac ends, Aries is where it begins. And we just stepped into the astrological new year on 20th March, right? With the sun ingressing into the sign of Aries. And what is this? This is endings and beginnings together. Since the beginning of the year, all the moons have been karmic in a way, important in a way, bringing about changes. So since Jan, a lot of changes, right? And this moon is no different. In fact, this is an eclipse, right? So more karmic changes. Saturn is with the ruler of where the eclipse is, where the moon is. Pluto is aspecting this. Again, karmic, serious, commitments, decisions for the long run. With so much Pisces and so much Aries, a lot of endings, a lot of past closing out, a lot of beginnings, right? And Pisces is also about the subconscious. It's about the healthcare system as well. Aries is about initiations. Aries can be aggressive. It's about taking action. It's about new beginnings. So a lot of this going on together, and this is not new. We've been doing this. We've been doing this work for the past 3-4 months, and since the beginning of the year, all planets have been direct, right? I mentioned this in every video. All planets have been direct. Pluto, Mars, Saturn, Venus, Neptune, Mercury, Jupiter, Uranus, all planets direct, they still are. And when planets are direct, things happen fast. Life moves fast. But now Mercury is going to retrograde. It's going to retrograde on 1st April. It's going to retrograde in the sign of Aries. And from the Earth's perspective, it's going to appear to move backwards. Right? And with Mercury retrograde, Mercury is the planet of the logical. It's the planet of our mind. It's the planet of communication, right? So with Mercury retrograde, we'll feel a slight slowdown, right? There can be a slowdown in things related to Mercury, like communication and marketing, that sort of thing. So just be mindful of that. With Mercury retrograde, it's a great time to go back to something that you've already started and review it and work on that, especially if it's communication related, like marketing or essays or anything Mercury related, right? Writing is Mercury related as well. That sort of thing. Now, moving on, there is one more important thing that I want to talk about, and that is this. We are going to have a major conjunction in the month of April, and it's building up now. Jupiter, 15 degrees of Taurus, Uranus, 20 degrees of Taurus. They will conjunct, right? They will meet up. Jupiter is a magnifier. It brings lessons. Yes, it is a benefic, but it magnifies the energy, right? It just magnifies it. And Uranus is the planet of change. It's electrifying. It's unpredictable. It's futuristic, it's eccentric. Uranus is eccentric, right? It's also about being authentic. Uranus is about being authentic as well. And what this conjunction is going to bring, first of all, Jupiter is just going to magnify Uranus, it's going to magnify energy of change. It's going to magnify the need for us to be unique, embrace that uniqueness. It's going to magnify that. It's going to magnify the unexpected, unpredictable energy of Uranus, and this is in the sign of Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign. It's the sign of material wealth, of possessions, of self-worth, of currencies, of resources, that sort of thing. So this conjunction is going to happen in that area, collectively speaking. For our personal charts, look for Taurus 21 degrees, right? That's where they're going to meet up, and look for that point. That's where this energy is going to bring about change, right? So we are building up to this, and we're going to start feeling it. We also still have Chiron super close to the North Node. Super close. The exact conjunction has happened, but it's super close. Chiron is the wounded healer. It brings healing, but we feel wounded in the process. That's the best way I can put it. It also brings this feeling of, why did this happen to me? I'm not good enough, that sort of thing. And we felt this very acutely in the month of Feb. Now it's on the decline, but it's still close. So that energy is still lingering in the air. And the next eclipse, right? The new moon solar eclipse in Aries is going to be conjunct Chiron. So we are going to be feeling this Chiron energy, which can be healing in a certain way, but it does not feel good, right? Chiron does not feel good. It feels good after you've done the work, after you've healed, but the process of it can feel challenging. But that's with anything, right? Anything usually that is rewarding, that brings about certain positivity, usually in the process or when we start, it feels challenging. So that's this eclipse in a nutshell. Now the next eclipse will be at 19 degrees of Aries. It will be conjunct Chiron. Mercury will be retrograde at that point. Jupiter and Uranus will be much closer by that point, and Mars and Saturn will also be really close on that eclipse. So that's an extremely important eclipse that we are building up to. But this starts the 2-week period of karmic events, fated events, destined events taking place. This is the start point. So with this, relationships are extremely highlighted. There is change, there is transformation, as there has been since the beginning of the year. Themes of endings and beginnings are highly prominent. We are building up to another big conjunction, which means another big change. With Pluto, there can be secrets coming out, things being revealed. And with Venus, the ruler of Libra, sitting next to Saturn, right? Although the conjunction with Saturn has already happened and it's moved on, it's still close. There is a seriousness. There is an energy asking us to be serious. If there are changes, if there are things coming out to the surface, if there are things being revealed, what is the decision, right? What is the long-term decision? And Saturn is slow, right? But Saturn can be for a long time, and eclipses are emotionally charged. So whatever it is, right, take your time. Take your time with this one. Even if there's a decision, think about it. Be sure, be certain. Commit when you're fully there. Saturn. But there is an energy of seriousness. So that's it for this one, and now we are in that 2-week cycle, and I hope this was useful, and I will see you all next time. Bye.